for the Archmage's orders. Though why Ravenmarsh thought a librarian would succeed where the Inquisition had failed, Enoch couldn't guess. Perhaps he was still being punished for supporting Suswara in the Ascension. Well, it made no difference. Enoch was a Mancer of the 4th rank, and when the Archmage said "Toad," Enoch hopped. He waited as the guard grappled with his brass ring of keys, waited as he heaved the bolts back, one by one. Beyond the door, torchlight showed a narrow corridor and rows of more heavy wood and iron doors, padlocked with barred windows and slits for passing through food. None were marked, but Enoch knew where he was going. "Knock thrice if you need us, Lord Mancer," said the guard. "Thrice, mind, else we'll not open it. Archmage's orders." Enoch had no chance to reply before the door slammed shut behind him. He counted the bolts this time. 1, 2, 3, 7 bolts slammed home, followed by the heavy clunk of the padlocks. Ravenmarsh must have called in a locksmith from the city. A locksmith! Enoch shook his head and reached for the oil lamp, hanging on a hook from the low ceiling. Apparently even the Archmage could fall prey to hysteria. The last door in the hallway had only one lock, this one pure silver, and etched with marks of binding. That gave him pause, more than all the other chains and bolts and padlocks. A shiver tickled the base of his spine. The cold air of the prison, nothing more. He fumbled for the key at his belt and unlatched the door. The stink hit him like a mouthful of wet cloth. The Mancer swallowed the urge to gag. Underfoot, fouled rushes scratched the floor, and an old slop bucket overflowed its contents. But the source of the smell seemed to be the small figure his lamp revealed, chained to the far wall. She was skinny, ragged. The bones stood out against her fish-pale skin. A snarl of dull gold hair hung to her waist, obscuring part of her face. Her features themselves might have been pretty once, broad across the cheekbones, with full lips and a small, firm chin. Now the skin stretched tightly over the bones. There were muddy circles under her eyes, and the left was ringed in purple, a recent bruise. There were older bruises, too, on the long legs that stuck out from her sackcloth dress, and on her arms. The worst were at her wrists and ankles, where the heavy manacles had cut welts into the skin. Both wrist and foot bore a second set of chains, attached to metal symbols, moons, stars, runes, and they jangled together as she stirred. Enoch recognized those chains, though he had not seen them used in many years. They were the chains forged to hold a Mancer. She was looking at him. Green eyes glared out from under a lank fall of hair. Enoch raised the lamp, and for a moment the eyes almost seemed to glow, like a cat's. He sucked in a breath. But no, they were just ordinary eyes, slitted against the sudden light. "So," said the woman. Her voice was low and pleasant, though hoarse. "Another little bird flaps his way in to gawk at me." She gave a brittle cough, making the chains clatter. Even seated, she was slumped against the wall, as though too weak to hold herself upright. "Go away, little bird. I have no seeds for you today." Her accent was hard to place. Enoch recognized the clipped, precise vowels of Aranor, his own birth country, as well as the lilting tones of rural Nederland. She was much younger than he had expected, barely more than a child. A child in this place. "I'm here to ask you some questions," Enoch said. There was a stool by the door, and he pulled it over and sat, though well out of the woman's reach. He had no intention of becoming the second visitor maimed in the course of duty. Perhaps she noticed his caution, for a little secretive smile flitted across her face, and then was gone. He set the lamp on the floor. "This is inconvenient for me. I have a lot of work to be getting on with. If you cooperate, I can help make your stay here a little easier. Some blankets, maybe. Or I could ask that they take off some of those shackles. Would you like that?" "Oh, on the contrary." She held up her hands, where the bruises were clearly visible, and rattled her chains.